And welcome back to the Gnostic Informant, and you are about to attain true gnosis. And today I'm doing something for the first time ever. It's just me and the chat. We're just chilling. So I noticed that there's somebody already commented and said, these open discussions seem to be mostly attended by the masculine persuasion. Any chance you can host feminine voices who are scholars? Absolutely. I mean, I hope that I can get more women on this channel. And I think you're right. For some reason, what is it with these open discussions where it's just like 20 dudes just chilling, all arguing over the Quran is right. No, the Bible's right. No, atheism's right. I agree. Where's the women at? Where's the women jumping in these? But I love having people on. If you I was gonna show my Patreon, but let me just well, not since it's up there. That's my Patreon, guys. If you want to support me, I really appreciate it. This is my source of income right now. But since we're on the subject of women scholars, I just want to point out that I have had some really good voices on this channel at as much as possible. I go out of my way. I think go out of my way to find women scholars who are experts. Lily, um, let's see. Hold on. Let me just go to my channel. I'll just show you guys who I've had on. Not to be like, oh look, I had women on, but just to show you if you don't know, some people might not know, but I do have videos of like yesterday, Angela Puka. Um, let's see, Vivian Taylor. Let's go. I had Jennifer Bird on not too long ago. We had a discussion about the women of the Bible. That was a really fun video, I thought. Noel Toscano gave us her story about leaving the church. Let's see, who else have I had on recently? Let's see. Oh yeah, Celine Lilly. This is one of my favorite videos. She is just amazing. What you're talking about, the Gnostic interpretation of Jesus possibly being a second Eve, because you know how there's that thought that Jesus is the next Adam. Well, some of the Gnostic Gospels think that Jesus is actually the next Eve. Also had on Dot Darling recently, who is a Thelema scholar, I think. But yeah, so there are some. Oh, Joanna Kujawa, she's great. She wrote The Other Goddess. Yeah, there's some another Jennifer Bird video. I have some options on there. So if you guys if you're interested in getting some female voices in this sphere, in this scholarship sphere, check out my channel. And I definitely try to go out of my way to get more diversity of people and not just white males. You know what I mean? You guys get it. But anyways, yeah. So thank you for that comment, by the way. And I see vaguely agnostic just became a member. Thank you for that, vaguely agnostic. Let me just see where that I saw that pop up. Thank you for that. So let's get into some questions. Everybody just start asking questions. It doesn't matter if it's a super chat. If it's a super chat, just skip the line. But if you don't have a super chat, just ask a question. I'm gonna just go right down the line. So the first one is from Jim Markstein. Thoughts on the Roman proc claim that the Gospels are secretly an allegory for Titus Caesar and Josephus' Jewish war. Fishers of men, they claim the sequence lines up. Yeah, Roman prop, you mean? I get, yeah. So this is a good question. I used to be into this. I used to think this was like, wow, look at this. But I realized something. So the claim, if anyone doesn't know what he's talking about, the claim is that in the Gospels, there's a sequence of events. Jesus does certain things. Also in the Josephus Jewish War, Titus Caesar has certain sequence of events that he does. And it starts off when he gets into the Galilee, he's telling his legions to fish the dead bodies out of the water. This is in Josephus Jewish War. And then there's the Christian text in the Gospel of Mark where he says, "Follow me, I'll make you fishers of men." Well, the claim is that this is an allegory of Titus Caesar and the Jewish War, and that in the Gospels there's a series of events, and then if you look at this series of events, they line up to a series of events that's in Josephus. Well, I started to realize this is kind of bullshit. I'm just gonna be straight up with you guys on this. And it's not beat around the bush. It's bullshit. You can take any person, take any book you want. Give me give me let's say the life of Caesar from Suetonius, or one of Plutarch's books about Aemilius Paulus from ancient Greece. I can look at the events of that person's life, and I can pick and choose certain things, and I can compare it to events of the Gospels, and I can make a parallel drawing. You could do that. It's because the Gospels they're written so ambiguously that you can compare it to almost anything. You can make your own comparison. I can turn Donald Trump into the Messiah through the Gospels. I can turn him into the devil. I can do whatever I want. You can interpret these texts however the hell you want. It's not that hard to do. So if you want Titus Caesar to be Jesus, you can make Titus Caesar Jesus. That doesn't impress me at all. So that's my answer to that. That's a good question though. I see Heathen Queen is here. I see Jason Lord of the Four Corners is here. Cool. Yeah. Anyone else got any questions? Just throw them out there. I'm here to fight. Yes. Oh, nice. Here we go. I'm going to have Candida Moss on soon. So check that out. Go to Heathen Queen's channel. And I'm sure she's got some good women on there too. And that's probably a good option. I'm here to harass Neal. Yeah, so I'm doing this live for an hour. Then I'm going over to Myth Vision to talk to David Fitzgerald. But yeah, I mean, just throw your questions at me, because the last time I did this open chat, I was ignoring the chat. I'll admit it. I wasn't paying attention to the chat. I was paying attention to everybody that was on the screen, and it was just a chaotic stream. And some of my Patreons were like, why don't you answer the questions in the chat? I was like, you're right. That's what I'm going to do today. Hey, Melody Joy. More of CD Hillman, please. DCA Hillman, please. What's the deal with the horns? Yeah, the horns. That's like the ancient Bronze Age, Iron Age god figure. Like the horns is a symbol of power. Like the god Amon. I have a picture of him right here, actually. The ancients, a lot of their gods are depicted as having horns. So you get this, it's like a sign of power. And when Christian and later on, Middle Ages, when Christianity starts to become, the norm, they polemicize that. That becomes the devil. That's how it is. That's just how all religions are. They always, any new religion always polemicizes the old religion. That's just how it is. I don't even think it's on purpose. I think it's just by default. White men, goodbye. Thank you, Chronicles of Lucci. Smash that like. Thank you. Yeah, Sobek is right. Joanna Kuja was a great source for this stuff. She's awesome. I probably will have her back on pretty soon. Dr. Puka as well. Just recently had her on. I think he had another one on there too. Oh yeah, Celine Lilly. Celine Lilly is, I'm not kidding. Like when I say this, and Jason, you know this too. Celine Lilly is like one of the leading scholars in Christianity, like worldwide. Like she's one of the greats. She's like Bart Ehrman level. Like I'm not just making that. That's not my opinion. That's like, people know that she's the real deal. She knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a long time. She's teaching at universities. She's written books. She's translated text. She's one of the best. So that's who I had her on one time, and I think I'm going to definitely reach out to her soon and get her back on for something, because it was such a good conversation. She's just like, she just sees things that no one else sees. She's just got a laser vision for the text that no one else sees. Let's see. Is Neal single? Asking for the girlies in the chat. I am. Because I'll tell you why. I haven't been in no rush to get into any relationships, because I was in a 10-year relationship that ended last fall. And so you can just see, I don't know if anyone's ever experienced coming out of a long, fucking decade-long relationship. You're not going right to you're not jumping in a new one anytime soon. You're chilling. So that's where I'm at. But yeah, that's a good question. And thanks for the super chat, by the way. Sorry for being a pain. I don't care. I'm just having fun. I'm just jumping on here for an hour, to answer questions. Let's see. I'm gonna go back to see if I missed any questions that weren't super chats. Wine or water? Um, I mean, if I'm trying to have some fun, wine. If I'm trying to be healthy, water. Isn't that like a situational thing, right? Good question, though. I like that question. Let's see. What else we got? They thought that Caesar was God, a god. Yeah, the Romans did. I mean, if you read Ovid's Metamorphoses, or Virgil, or even like Philo, they're like this guy was calming the storms that were raging. This guy was he was he, this is he's the luckiest person to ever. There's a famous Roman phrase from like second, third century, and it's like every time somebody got anointed as an Augustus or a Caesar, they would say, "For you to be as lucky as Augustus and to be as good as Hadrian, because Hadrian like conquered the most lands, but Augustus was like the one who like started the whole thing. So they like those were like the two greatest emperors. The bar was set. Every emperor that came after them, they would compare him to Hadrian and Augustus. I probably butchered that phrase, but it's obviously in Latin, so it doesn't matter. Looking it up. It says, "May you have the luck of Augustus." Where's the other part of it? Oh, here it is. Oh, no, I wasn't Hadrian. It's Trajan. I'm a dumbass. May he be luckier than Augustus and better than Trajan. Yeah, not Hadrian, Trajan. Let's see what else we got. Titus Caesar. Whatever. Another great guest would be Dana Marnicher Reynolds. She's an African American scholar of Afroastic history, professor. That great idea. I'm actually going to write that down. Yeah, I've been really trying to go out of my way as much as possible to have on as diverse as possible guests, as many as possible. It's just from all different backgrounds, all different fields of study. I mean, I focus on mostly New Testament and old and Bible stuff, but I also like to get into classics, the classicists, the I even want to branch out to like Native American history if I could, or maybe some Indian mythology or African mythology. Like I think that those would be really fun videos. I hope other people would enjoy it. I hope they can get as many views as the Jesus videos do. For some reason, when I put out a video, if Christianity or Jesus is in the title, it gets tons of views. If I do a video on like, I don't know, some Greek mythology thing, it gets like half the views. For whatever reason, I don't know if that's the algorithm or what, but people just want to see Christianity stuff. But I want to get into everything. I want to make this channel like a source for just like ancient history, mythology, scripture, stuff like that. Comparative religion. Gnostic Informant, not sure if you can address the connection between Jesus and Enki. Tried to ask the longer version earlier. Huh. I don't know. I mean, do you know who would be good to ask that is Dr. Josh. Yeah, he's an Assyriologist. I could only like make wild guesses. Because I mean, if I'm mistaken, Enki is like he's like a son of Anu, I think. Like I said, I'm not an expert. I'm just guessing. And Anu wants to flood the world. Enki's there to save the world. So I guess you can I guess there can be a connection that Enki is like a savior, son of God archetype. That's as far as I know. I don't know. I couldn't really say anything else besides that. But I do know that the Greeks had a myth of Prometheus, and Prometheus played the role of Enki, where Zeus was going to flood the world. This is the Atlantis myth, by the way. And so, not Enki, Prometheus is the one who comes and warns Deucalion, tells Deucalion, build a box. It doesn't say, it's like the Greek word is like chest or box. And he saves him. And it's just him and his wife. There's no animals, no nothing. Because the Greeks aren't stupid. The Greeks aren't like, they're not gonna. They know it's just a story. You know what I mean? They're not gonna like. They're not taking it. And not to say that the Jewish version took it literally either. They didn't think people thought this was literally true. It's just a story. You know what I mean? No. People, when people wrote these stories, they didn't mean for you to think this really happened. I think that happens. I think that literalism happens later with these, with like this new. I think it's a modern thing. The Protestant movement came along. It was like, we need to be more rational about this. Well, it has to be true then. Instead of like throwing the whole thing out, being like, well, if we're going to be rational, this didn't happen. Instead of doing that, they just said, well, we got to make sure we can find a way to make this true. So scientifically, let's just like jump over cliffs of logic and try to make this thing make sense, which it doesn't, which it never will. It's literally impossible for if there was enough water to flood the whole earth, you know what would happen? The whole earth would be flooded right now. Because that's how physics works. The water would be leveled out around the earth, just like it would be in any other scenario. You know what I mean? Like if I had enough water to fill this water bottle, this is tea, it doesn't go down. It stays. That's the same amount of water. It doesn't go down or up. It just stays there. So if there's enough water to flood the entire earth, it would stay like that. It would always be that way. You know what I mean? So I think when they wrote these stories, they weren't trying to like convince people that really happened. But I don't know. That's just my guess. That had nothing to do with the question anyway. This is my first time doing this. Sorry. All right, let's see. Related to Gospels as literature, the story of Jesus casting out legion was an allegory for Jesus casting out Roman legions, and Roman standard of the time was a boar. Thoughts? I never even thought of that. That's interesting. I don't know. I've never heard that before. That's a really interesting observation. That's a good question to throw at a scholar who might know about that. Jesus casting out legion was an allegory for Jesus casting out Roman legions, as the standard at the time was a boar. I thought it was an eagle, but hey, I don't know. I don't know everything. But yeah, that would be interesting. Was Eve a savior? Well, you could make the argument that her taking the bite of the apple is like Persephone taking the bite of the pomegranate. And instead of being stuck in Hades like Persephone was, she's cast out of paradise. And this might be an event that was like the necessary thing for the creation of humans. You know what I mean? Like she's not that she's a savior or a villain. It's just she plays the role of the mother of all civilization. You know what I mean? So it's not really good or bad. It's beyond that. Horns can be an auroch, a ram, or even a moon. Interesting. Hey, Neal, I hear more and more about Caesar Messiah theory, which I held before I knew what it was. Just curious why more people do not go further and apply it across the board to past empires. Huh. Yeah, good question. Why not? Why not? If you're going to go that far, why don't you keep going? Here's the thing about that. Because I, too, was really intrigued by this Messiah by this whole thing being like a secret government program. And like, that would explain why the Roman Empire became Christian. But like, okay, so if this was the case, why would you hide it? If you want to have the credit, if you want Titus Caesar to be the Messiah, and you claim that Titus Caesar is the Messiah, why would you want to hide it and give credit to a Jewish man named Jesus? And then here we are in 2022, and the Christian faith has no idea they don't care about Titus. As far as they know, he's a wicked Roman emperor, pagan. They don't care about him. He has no credit whatsoever. What, they secretly worship him? What does that matter? They don't even know who he is. So what's the point? And I know if I had like Valiant here right now, he would say the point wasn't for the Romans. The point was for the Jews who were messianic, violent, trying to overthrow. But I don't see that. I don't think they had that big of a population or big of a presence. I think there was more of a I think if you look at like people like Philo or Aristobulus or Hillel the Elder, I just made a video about this. You can see the progression of Hellenized Judaism before Christianity. There's no need to throw in a bone to like trick everybody. That is already happening. There's no need for some secret program when people are already thinking these things. These are already ideas that are out there. Treat your neighbor the way you want to be treated. Hillel the Elder said that 50 years before Jesus did. So for me, it doesn't make sense that there's this zealot religion that's gonna ruin everything, and then we need to replace it with a more loving, turn the other cheek religion. No, I don't see it. I just don't see it. But that's a really good question, though. Making it a point to have Dr. Lily on as the first guest on my podcast. Absolutely. Absolutely. She's one of the best. I never been in a relationship. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It is. It's a long time. That's a dumb question. Wine. Of course, wine is better than water. Who needs water? You can live off wine, right? Gnostic Informant, can you get Jason Giorgiani on again? Politely quiz him on Zervan, please. It's possible. You know, he's kind of tough to get on, you know. The heathen queen is 1, Inanna resurrected, Isis resurrected, doing her own thing, all of the above. All of the above. Where's heathen queen? What do you think about that? What's the answer? I'm waiting for your answer, heathen queen, before I go on to the next. Great answer. All right, at least I got that one right. All the above. Let's see. Do you believe in Homo capensis or understand the Paracus skulls on their connection? I have no idea what you just said. I don't even have a clue what you just said. I'm sure it's way beyond my understanding. I'm just a dummy, but I have no idea what that means. The main goddess for me is Hel from Norse mythology. Not so based on textual references, but on her being the arbiter of life and death. I see it as the mother of all things that also devours all. That's interesting. I've always loved people who go outside the box, people who have a belief system and they think there's something greater. They just don't default right to the standard Christianity or Islam. They just have their own understanding. I love that. I think everyone should have that. Everybody should just think their own thoughts. Just believe what you want. Like, don't try to make the laws affect your. Don't try to like change policy or like try to get a politician funded by your religion that's going to make sure that everybody follows this book and women have to be like subservient or like they can't have abortions, shit like that. That's no, that's bad. People who believe have their own beliefs and their private life and it gives them fulfillment. I'm all for that. That's all cool to me. I love that. So yeah, that's cool. The goddess is from hell. That's cool. That's interesting. That sounds like some Norse. Oh, you said it right there. Norse mythology. That's dope. I like that. Don't forget Horace, Neal. He wrote some fire economics to it. I was just reading that last night. I swear to God, I was just reading that last night. He was telling Augustus. What was he saying? He was talking about how Romulus and all the other greats, when after they conquered, they went into the temples and they had the I forgot what he said, but he said something like Romulus and all the greats, they were praising the temples, but Augustus is like I don't know. It's just I was just reading it last night. It's pretty good. Why do women ruin everything? Check out history. Who said that? Who said women ruin everything? Oh, Joe did. Okay. Yeah. Heathen Queen has a good point, though. I mean, let's look at history. Who who's killing everybody, first of all? Who's committing all the murders? It's us. I mean, I'm sorry. I might get mad at me all you want, but it's just a fact. And you know what's even crazier though is that like even the ancients recognized that wisdom was a female aspect. Sophia was a female. Wisdom was always considered a female idea. I wonder why that is. But yeah, I think she's right. I mean, I think if you look at history, it was men in control mostly, and a lot of especially when we look at the theocratic West, this church run world where the Pope is calling the shots and controlling markets and manipulating governments and planting kings and making marriages happen between Germany and France and making sure that there's alliance here, make sure that Spain somebody has to go to war against them because they're not acting right. That is a problem. That patriarchal system that people roll their eyes when I say that P word, but it's a real thing, dude. It really is. Like, you look at history, we were like 1,000 years behind on advancements because we were so focused on what the Pope wanted to do or what the book says or how we should do this or how we should do that. Where we could have been like working on medicine and technology and how to build better roads and how to make a better constitution for people and for equality and freedom and stuff like that. We didn't have to wait till the 1700s for that to happen. We had those ideas in ancient Greece and ancient China in the 400s, 500s BCE. We had those ideas already. For some reason, these empires just ignored all that. And we went backwards for a long time. I believe that. I'm not saying that there wasn't the Renaissance and there wasn't some good things kind of came out of this this church ran world, but that's just like you would expect that for anything. Like, no one's going to really go backwards. We're not going to go back to the Stone Age. Of course, there's going to be some progression, but to say that all the credit goes to the church, like someone like Jordan Peterson or Ben Shapiro would say, that's just not true. That's just bullshit. That really is. Like, I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. That's just bullshit. You cannot give the credit to the church for for like progression in the world. Kamal, I give it a super chat. Can you ask Dan Jacobs for me if he could make his own channel with debunking Judaism and Talmud videos? Can you have him on your channel about Judaism? That name sounds familiar, but I'm not sure if I know exactly who that is right now. Dan Jacobs. Yeah. It's not, I can't think of it right now. But why just Judaism and Talmud? Why just that? That just seems a little specific to me. If you're going to do it, if you're going to do debunking videos, keep it a even playing field. I wouldn't just try to focus out one thing like that. Especially it's like, we got to remember this is culture for some people. This is a way of life. This is tradition for some people. So I try not to be like too antagonistic on these ideas, but I do think that there's critical observations are necessary because some of these ideas do affect the way people are and stuff like that. Is Jesus both the bright star and the morning star? I guess so. That's what Revelation says, right? Let's see. Awesome. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Why is Enoch not in the Bible, but in the Bible it says that he was taken by God, but his book is not good enough to be in the book? I've always thought this is a good question because Enoch, the Book of Enoch is the story of the fallen angels. It's not Satan. It's different people. For some reason, people think it's Satan. It's not. It's Azazel, Samael, and all these different other angels that fall down. And Enoch gets taken up into heaven. And this book is quoted by the book of Jude, the epistle of Jude, in the New Testament. So obviously it was important for the early Christians if it's literally quoted word for word by the epistle writer. But it doesn't get into the Bible for some reason. And I think there's a reason. I think the reason why is because part of the inside of the book of Enoch, there's like this astrological text. It's like very it's like just doesn't line up with Christian theology. So I think they might have left it out because of that. But that is kind of crazy that they would just like leave out a book that's partially one of the most important pieces for this specific epistle writer. Like if you're going to quote Enoch as scripture, Enoch should be scripture, right? Shouldn't just be some question mark that no one knows about. But you're right. That's a really good point. Montefort, S. Smart. You do good work, man. I can't stress it enough. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Really do. Can you speak to the sus that is put forward that Nebuchadnezzar destroyed the Jerusalem temple as he was all about building? Something doesn't add up with that. Put it forward. I don't know what you mean by that. He destroyed the Jerusalem temple as he was all about building? I don't know. Maybe someone else in the comments can answer that. I don't know what that. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Can you ask Dan Jacobs for me? Oh, you already did this one. Neal, are you going to try a book club format? Maybe. That's a good idea. We should have a book club like that. We should always we should get together and have like this week we're gonna read Horace, or we're gonna do like Plutarch this week, or the book of Judas, or something like that. That'd be a cool idea. Get everyone on the same page and then do a video about it or something. That'd be dope. That'd be dope. I'm in recovery and I'm into Gnosticism. In your opinion, can they go together? Yeah. I'm also a recovering addict myself. I've talked about this on my channel. And anyone who's been in the rooms, you know what I mean by that. Anyone who's been in the rooms knows that it's the higher power thing that is what's going to get you clean, right? Which is a problem for atheists. This is a lot of atheists struggle with this because you can't help being an atheist. You can't just force yourself to not believe, to believe in something. So for a lot of people, it's good because they can think they can have a concept of something greater than themselves, and they can like try to like connect with that thing, whatever it is, and it helps them. It gives them fulfillment. So that can you knock that? I can't knock that. But there are people who don't know what to do in that situation. So they have to like fill that in with some sort of concept of like love or something, or something. They have to like think of something outside the box. So if Gnosticism works for you, do it. If it gives you that fulfillment, if it fills that void, why not? I mean, who am I to say you can't do that? Dr. Josh would say there's absolutely zero connection. There you go. There's your answer. Yeah, I didn't really think so either. I didn't really know if there was or not, other than that story that I mentioned that he saves the people from the flood. But Jesus doesn't really do that either. So I don't know. Vaguely agnostic. Still have a GoFundMe for your trip to Israel? I actually do still have that up. That is still up. It's on my channel. It is here it is. If you do want to help out with that, I appreciate that. That is on my channel. Where is it? It is over here. It is. This video right here. Trip to Israel. And the link is in there for the fundraiser. And we're going. So far, I've been able to put aside enough to make it happen. I would like to get some better sound equipment. Derek got a new camera, so we're gonna be good. But I would like to get some like really good sound equipment that we can like clip on ourselves, like mics that clip on that are really good, so we don't have to worry about sound while we're there. That would be dope. So hopefully we can get that going before we get there. We still have another month and a half. So, but thank you for that super chat. Enki can be the father of Anu or vice versa. Uruk traditions have Anu as the father of Enki. I didn't know that. Interesting. Big collapse energy. But there is evidence of a major flood? Really? What scientists that you know about that I don't know about? Like, I don't this is new to me. As far as I know, I don't know about that at all. I know people make that I know there's apologists who say that. Like, Answers in Genesis will say that, but I don't think that reflects reality, though. I mean, just think about what I just said, though. If there was enough water to flood the whole earth and cover every mountain like the Bible says, where did all that water go? Did it vanish magically by God? I guess you can say that, but then you just have an answer for everything. Anything I throw at you, just say God, magic, done, and then there's no debate. It's over with. But yeah, I don't. I would if I was you, I would check your sources on that. How can I get on Dr. Ramon's ancient Greek class? He's on Wizant. Wizant, WYZANT.com. And you can look him up in the search thing. He's on there. It's not an ancient Greek class. It's well, yeah, no, it is. It's you mean the language? Yes, it's Attic Greek. He teaches Attic Greek. So that is a specific Greek that's like used in like Homer, Plato, but it's close enough to Koine Greek that you'll be able to read biblical scripture too. I'm getting pretty good at it. Actually, I shouldn't say I'm getting good at it. I'm getting better at it than I was when I started. I can actually read the words now. I can actually read it. Actually, let's see. Let's test my skills out real quick. Let's see if I can read this. Okay. All right. Nukta theon gag gigateron. Oh, I gotta make this bigger. I can't read it. Okay, there we go. Nuta theon geneterion I samai ede kai andron. Praise the Knicks from which to God's call. Nuts genocide Pontos and Kai Kuprian Calisomon Nix. Yeah, that's I totally fucked that up, dude. What did you say after that? Oh yeah, we gotta work on some Orphic hymns. Yeah, we do. That's fun. Let's see what else we got. Flood was proved to have happened in the 10th, 11th century BCE, like Plato said. It wasn't the whole world. The Caucasus people, for example, survived. Wait a minute. What do you mean it proved to have happened? Who said that? Who said it just proved to have happened? Who's that? If it's proved to have happened, why doesn't everyone think it happened then? Yeah, I don't know about that, Paul. There were some floods that happened, but of course floods happen. That's just one of the things that happens in the world. It's like saying there's a thunderstorm happened. Yeah, of course it did. A global flood, though, no. Manichaeism is misunderstood because there's a low amount of people on the internet. There's not much discourse. Would you have me on to represent inaccurate? Yeah, I mean, if you if you know are you if you want, yeah, I guess. I mean, that's something I'll be open to doing. Manichaeism. Yeah, I guess there's not a lot of people talking about that. Send me an email about what you would like to do. Sages and pages. We know you're busy with the podcast and filling in for Derek, but you need to check your email. Oh, really? I didn't even see it. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I haven't been checking it the last day or two. So, because I have two emails. So the one from the channel, you're right. I do got to check it. I will check it. I'm sorry about that. The reigning, defending, undisputed universal heavyweight champion. Subscribe to the great sage, M. David Litwa. Absolutely. 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 Malone Tess Iridos is heller than an apple. Nice. Iridos. Christianity was a way to enter the life of the Druidic people. Interesting. I mean, I've never heard that before, but it's an interesting concept, I guess. How? How is it like? What do you? Is this like some sort of Ralph Ellis thing right here? Heathen Queen. Nebuchadnezzar is Ani king, is N king, would have tied his military success to building. Standard Ani came from the campaign. Building something is a mark of success. However, he would have razed enemies' buildings to ground. Yeah. Yeah. The story, you know, if you want to get a good story of Nebuchadnezzar, read Judith. Judith is amazing. I was talking to Jennifer Bird about this on my channel a couple weeks ago. Let's see, which video was it? This one right here, Women of the Bible, Judith, Esther, and Mary Magdalene. The story of Judith is amazing. Starts off about the first half of the book is about Nebuchadnezzar and what he's doing. He goes first, he goes into Persia, conquers all those lands, and he builds up a giant army. Actually, before that, the story starts up before that. He sends delegates to the west, to the Jews, and to other nations like Egypt and Phoenicia. And he's like, you guys want to join my army? I'm about to take over the world. You might want to get in on this. And they're like, nah, fuck off. And so Nebuchadnezzar goes to the east and he conquers everything. He takes Media, Persia, all that, Bactria. He gets everything. And then he's like, you guys should have joined me. You should have joined my army because now I'm coming back for you. So he starts moving to the west. He starts taking over Phoenicia and Syria. He's making his way down to Israel. And Judith, and he has a general. What the hell is the general's name again? General's name is what the hell's the name again? I can't find it. Oh, Holofernes. Holofernes. And this Holofernes dude is like, he's a big deal. And so Judith has this brilliant idea. Why don't I just put on some nice clothes, some perfume. I'll seduce this dude. And then when he falls asleep and he's drunk from all the wine I give him, I'm going to chop his head off. She pulls it off. She saves them from this general. But yeah, I just like that story because it's not a true story. It's not like it's a myth, but it anchors itself in the history of Nebuchadnezzar. So it's pretty interesting. But let's see what else we got. Time travelers transported the first temple 2700. Thank you for that. I think you're right. I think that's a spot on observation. Best channel on the internet. Thanks for all that. Yeah, I doubt that. But thank you for that compliment. I appreciate that. I'm just barely enough of an addict that I don't need help with it. Well, every time you hear that, that's not good. I don't go off the rails, so why stop? That's never a good thing to hear. When someone says that, you probably should chill out. That's just, I won't tell you what to do, but barely enough of an addict is a bad thing. That's not good. Tolerance level is little low this weekend as a result. Sorry if I'm bringing the hammer down too harsh. Let's keep it semi-clean. Absolutely. I gave you that wrench for a reason, you know? I gave you that wrench for a reason. In fact, there's probably some other people in here who I can give that wrench to. Let's see. Eric. Oh, why isn't it letting me? Oh, because I got to do it on YouTube. Okay. Well, I'll just do it later then. I don't feel like doing that right now. Yeah, I'll give you guys some wrenches in a little bit, but I guess we're good right now. I guess Jason's got his cover right now. Was it literally the whole planet? That's what the text says. I mean, that's if I don't. I'm pretty sure the text says. Let's see what it says. Genesis 6, 9, 8 through 22. Let's see. NIV. Let's pull this thing up. All right. Here's what it says. The earth was corrupt in God's sight and full of violence. God saw that the earth had become people on the earth corrupted their ways. All right. Here we go. Let's see where this flood happens. The springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened, and rain fell on the earth for 40 days. Okay, so right away we have a red flag. Okay, we have a red flag right off the bat. Rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Where does rain come from, guys? Come on. We learned this in middle school. I think even before that. We learned in middle school there's evaporation and then there's precipitation. There's a cycle. Water doesn't just come from somewhere in outer space. It's already on the earth. All the water that you see, that comes down from the rain came from the earth. There's no extra spots. There's no magical place where rain comes from. So right off the rip, and rain fell on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. Where did that rain come from? If it came from the ocean, wouldn't the ocean go down? Like, the water that's covered on the earth is there because that's how much water we have. If there was enough water, I've said this three times already. If there was enough water to cover the earth, it would be like that right now. That's just how physics works, period. There's no debate there. So it says, for 40 days the flood kept coming on the earth. As the waters increased, they lifted the ark above the earth. The waters rose and greatly on the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. They rose greatly on the earth, and all the high mountains under the entire heavens were covered. Okay? Do you get that? Make it bigger for you? Look. Whoops. See that? All the high mountains under the heavens were covered. How? I just want to know if anyone can answer that. If anyone has a physics degree, can answer how this is possible. The waters rose and covered the mountains to a depth more than 15 cubits. 15 cubits higher than the mountains. Even if this was just in the Middle East. Let's say Mount Everest, the Himalayas over there. They're all way above, right? Even if it was just the Middle East, guess what? The world would be covered in water except for India. India would be above. Everyone in the world would be living in India right now because it's higher than the elevation's higher over there because it has the tectonic plates smush pressing up the mountains of the Himalayas. Everybody would be crammed over there. There'd be no one living. The whole world would be an ocean except for over there. This is physically impossible. Physically impossible. That's it. Period. Done. Now, why does this matter for Christianity? Because in Christianity, in the epistles, in the book of Peter, let's go to the book of Peter real quick. Whoops. What the hell's going on? Oh, I got to do this for a second. First of all, Jesus talks about the flood. What does Jesus say about the flood? Matthew 24. Matthew 24. Jesus says, what is it? 24, 30, 24. Look at this. For in the days, this is Jesus' words. For in the days of the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying, giving in marriage before Noah entered the ark. They were oblivious until the flood came and swept them all away. So this guy thinks the flood happened. In the book of Peter, in the epistle of Peter, it talks about how the whole world was wiped away from the flood. So these Christians are taking this is Christian theology. This is you don't get exempt from that. The flood didn't happen. Christianity has a problem. It's like another thing I always bring up too. If Adam and Eve aren't real people, if you think the world is 6,000 years old, then you're a valid Christian. You think you're keeping Christianity alive. But if you think that if you believe in this the current scientific understanding of the world being billions of trillions of years old, and evolution, and the first humans were tens or whatever hundreds of thousands of years ago, whatever it is, and you don't like there's not literally an Adam and Eve 6,000 years ago, then what is the point of Jesus dying for our sins if through Christian theology the claim is that you are destined for hell because of the sin of Adam and Eve? Adam and Eve sinned, and therefore we're all screwed. We need Jesus. But if Adam and Eve are just a myth, then what the hell is this whole? What's the point of this? Right? That's what I'm saying. Like I don't get that. That's to me. That's where I lose. That's how I basically lost my faith in Christianity. It just doesn't. The logic is just not there anymore. If you can't accept science and you can't accept like history. If either it's all a lie and there's a big conspiracy and Satan's behind the government and scientists, which is why you get people like Kent Hovind, or it's not true. It can't be both. You cannot have it both. It can't just be an allegory and it's divinely inspired because these people just picked the right religion. That's too vague. It doesn't make any sense. Because if that's the case, then how are they any better than the Hindus or anyone else? There's no difference. They're just people writing down myths, trying to connect to a higher power. It's not. There's nothing happening there. So either this is all true, and we're all being lied to by scientists, and Satan's confusing people by putting dinosaurs in the fossil record, or it's not true. And if it's not true, then what do we do? That's the question, right? So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me. That makes sense that when the plates moved, causing land separation, flooding would happen. No, I don't think that's the case. But it's interesting that you think that, though. Jason, Lord of the Four Corners. We got. Oh yeah, I read this one. Greece and Sumerian people were afraid of the kings and the people of Ethiopia and Sudan tribes. Why? Where do you see it? Where did you read that from? In fact, I was just reading Arian the other day, the story of Alexander the Great, and the Ethiopian archers had like the most advanced archery in the world, maybe next to the Scythians. He was comparing them, like how Alexander the Great, when he started conquering Egypt and parts of the Middle East, he incorporated the Ethiopian archers to come along with him and help him fight when he went towards India. And they were talking about how great the Ethiopian archers were. But I don't think they were scared of them or like afraid of them. It was just they were praising them as being like good warriors. Same with the Scythians too. Oh, oops, I skipped one. The ancient way of allocated words wasn't literal. Was if the flood was something different? Yeah, right. A local flood in Mesopotamia. Yes, and that see this thing. This is This is what science does. Science looks at Mesopotamia. There's literally 2 giant rivers and land in between. And it's the source of the water is coming out of the Gulf, the Persian Gulf. A lot of water. If it floods, if the levels rise, there's going to be a flood in between the 2 rivers. That's it. That's all you got to look at. Like that's common sense. We don't have to bend reality to assume that a flood happened in Mesopotamia. We don't have to do that. The flood happened in Mesopotamia. We have evidence for it. But like, think about it. The deserts in Africa and the Gobi Desert in China, you think there was water covering that whole entire land? You got to be out of your mind to think that. You know, there's no water over there. There is no lakes or rivers to rise up to flood that area. It just doesn't happen unless all the oceans rise up. But then it's like, where does the water come from? It doesn't come from anywhere because it doesn't exist. It's physically impossible to have a global flood. It's funny that people even still think that could be like, that's not even people think that's actually still possible. Whoops. I got a couple minutes left before I switch over. I'm going to Myth Vision to talk to David Fitzgerald in about 10 minutes. So, hey, Neal, do you remember the part in Nag Hammadi where Adam and Eve aren't humans, but higher dimensional beings that break into bacteria like Prometheus? Also explains their age as being hundreds. Yeah, I think I know I remember seeing something like this where it was like, there's this Yael Deboeth. I think you're talking about the one with the Yael Deboeth, where Yael Deboeth thinks he created Adam and Eve, but really he was wrong. He was like in a dream or something, and he's the demiurge. He's like the evil creator, and Adam and Eve are really created by Sophia, the wisdom, the goddess. So Sophia is the one who creates Adam and Eve, not the Yael Deboeth. But also, what's funny about this story is that it's actually backed up by the Bible, because in Proverbs 8, let me pull it up. Proverbs 8. Does not wisdom call up? If this was in Greek, it would say Sophia. If this was in Hebrew, it would say Chachma. Does not Sophia call out? And Sophia was a philosophical concept to the Greeks. It was actually personified as a goddess. Athena was called Athena Sophia, Athena wisdom. And anyways, so this, if you're a Hellenized Greek, you would read it that way. You probably would interpret it that way. Maybe. I'm not saying it, you have to, but you could. But it also says wisdom created the first man. Doesn't that wisdom call out, raise her voice? See, look, raise her voice. Always is that. It always is a her. At the highest point along the way where paths meet, she takes her stand. Beside the gate leading to the city, she cries out, "O people, I raise my voice to all mankind. You who are simple, gain prudence. You who are foolish, set your hearts on it. Listen, for I have trustworthy things to say. I open my lips to speak what is right. My mouth speaks what is true, for my lips detest wickedness. All the words of my mouth are just. I, wisdom, like it's a person. This is not just I, Sophia, dwell together with prudence. I possess knowledge and discretion. To fear the Lord is to hate evil. I love those who love me. And those who seek find me. My fruit is better than gold. The Lord brought me forth as the first of his works, before his deeds of old. I was formed long ages ago, at the very beginning, when the world came to be. By the way, I was talking to Lily about this, Professor Lily. This is the Logos. The concept of Jesus being the eternal Logos is an idea of actually was a female before that. It actually was the Sophia, the aspect, or some people think Asherah might have been this. This might have been a reference to Asherah in Hebrew. that she was the husband of Yahweh. She was the first creation, and it was her that made Adam and Eve. So before the hills, I was given birth. Before he made the world or its fields, I was there when he set the heavens in place, when he marked the horizon to the face of the deep, when he established the clouds above and fixed security in the mountains, when he gave the sea its boundary so the waters would not overstep his command, and when he marked the foundation of the earth. Then I was constantly at his side. I was filled with delight after every day, rejoicing always in his presence and delighting in mankind. Now then, children, listen to me. Blessed are those who keep my ways, listen to my instruction. Blessed are those who listen, for those who find me find life. And then in the wisdom of Solomon, actually, I can't find that right now. It's going to take me too long. But anyways, in the wisdom of Solomon, she once again is speaking. She says, I was the one who formed the first man. I was the one who created humans. So that is just like, why do we forget that? I don't know. You tell me why we forgot about that. Guess I'll just F off into no wrench land. Let me give you a wrench. I thought you had one already. I could have swore you had one. Who wants a wrench? Drop a comment right now if you want a wrench. And if I recognize you, I'll give you one. I just gave one to Heathen Queen. So, yeah. But anyways, what else we got? Did I miss anybody super chat yet? Got a couple minutes left. Crawford Fulton King. Hope you're well and have finished well with the Atlantis fable. Isn't there only one source? Otherwise, keep making the Atlantis fable is basically from Plato. But before Plato, Herodotus mentions Atlantis as being past the Straits of Gibraltar. He doesn't say anything about it. He doesn't mention anything. He doesn't talk about the myth or anything. Plato is the one who talks about the flooding of Atlantis. So Herodotus could be talking about some island that we completely somewhere else, for all we know. He doesn't really give a direct location. But he does say it's past the Straits of Gibraltar, which would be past Spain. So it could be somewhere in that location. It doesn't mean it's this giant mythical location in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. That doesn't mean that. But he's talking about something. But when Plato's talking about Atlantis, he's talking about some mythical story that's not real. So people forget about Herodotus too. People don't talk about that. They always say it's just Plato that talks about her. Plato is the first person to mention it. It's not. I hear that a lot from people. People who know a lot too say that. Herodotus mentions it. He's the first one to mention it. And this was like half a century before Plato. Let's see what else we got. Spiraling Theology. Thank you for the super chat. Neal, bro, you skipped my super chat earlier. Oh, did I? All good. I know you didn't mean it. Love the show. Maybe I'll hop on Myth Vision a bit and try again. For real, I apologize. Where is it? Where is it? Let me see. Come on. Sages and Pages. Honestly, I don't know how I missed it. Let's see. I apologize about that. Sometimes when you're scrolling down, sometimes it'll jump past like 3 people. Spiraling Theology. Is this it? Okay, here it is. I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry about that. Watched your last video. If I wanted to read Plato's writings without an author interpreting them or commenting, just saw the raw text with the books. What book should I buy and where should I get it? Oh, good question. Yeah, if you don't want to just read straight Plato, I don't know. I don't know who's the best Plato scholar out there. That's a good question. I mean, I was just about to look it up on Google to give you the answer, but I guess I could just tell you to do that, because what am I going to see something different than you? Honestly, that's a good question. Who's the best Plato scholar out there? I wish I knew. If I wanted to read Plato's Writings without, oh, you want to read the title? Okay, so just order the Oxford edition. It has a good glossary and index and notes in the bottom. You always want it. Oxford's good. I always get when I get a if you see behind me, see all these books behind me, all the white ones, and that's not even all of them. I have like piles of those things. The black ones are Penguin. Those are good too. They're the same actually. If you want to get English translations of primary sources, you want to get Oxford or Penguin. Those are the best. Or you want to get this is pretty good too, the Scholar Select one, but they don't, to tell you the truth, it's not as good as Oxford or Penguin, because a lot of times they print it out weird. Like, look at this print. It looks like it's just printed just like weirdly, and it's like a lot of this stuff is old text too, from like the 1600s, 1700s, and it's not updated, and there's usually no index. Like, look at this. There's the little tiny appendix at the end, and it's just like there's no it just cuts off to this. So it's not that good of a print. But if you see those white books behind me, the black books behind me, you want to get those. Oxford and Penguin. If you go on Amazon, Oxford or Penguin, those are the best English translations for ancient primary sources. I read them every night. I can't go to sleep without a book in my hand. So I'll just, whatever I'm in the mood for, just pull one out and start reading it. So that's a good question, by the way. I should do a video on show some of these books that I got. Did I miss anyone else? Let me see. Yeah, that's the last one. Okay. Yeah. This has been fun, guys. Let's see. If you take anything I say the wrong way, just know I'm taking the piss. And I still I didn't take it the wrong way. You're good. Well, all right. Listen, I'm going to get ready for this stream with David Fitzgerald over at Myth Vision. But before I go there, let me just show you guys something real quick. So, guys, if you guys like what I do, and if you can afford it, I have a Patreon. You can become an initiate, and it helps me out. You can also join the membership thing on YouTube, because I mean the ad revenue is really not that good. I mean, if you're not getting like at least 200,000 views a month, you just can't survive off it. I'm not kidding. You need like 200,000 views plus a month to just be able to. It's like minimum wage. I'm not kidding. I like, ask any creator, any creator out there. It's not a lot of money for the ad revenue. I mean, if you pop off with like a video with 20,000 views, it's like $100 for that. So my videos are getting between 1 and 5,000 views on average. Sometimes I'll pop off of the video with 20,000, 30,000, maybe 50 if I get lucky. I think my biggest video is 60,000 views, 65,000 views with Jonathan M.S. Pierce. That's like 200 something, $250, something like that, $300. So so you're really riding a wave of getting lucky. It's nice to have supporters that can throw, that can really, I know that I have that. Like, that's what I'm going to get, because people support me. And you can comment, you can message me directly through the messages. I have 4 unread messages because I'm a dick. Sorry about that. I will read those tonight, I promise. But yeah, like, seriously, Guys, if you can do that, that'd be great. But it's not. It doesn't matter. You don't have to. I'm not forcing anybody to do that. Bar or liquid soap for the shower? Honestly, I like the bar. I get the bar with the scrubby thing. That's what I rock with. Because I'm kind of a hairy guy, so I need like the liquid soap. This doesn't work for me. So, good question, Pat. When are you coming back? Are you still on vacation, or I think you were like on a trip or something? I gotta get you back on, man. We gotta have a chat one of these days. But yeah, guys, I really appreciate that. Everybody who super chatted or asked a question, it's good seeing you guys. And oh yeah, follow me over to Myth Vision right now. I'm going over there right now to talk to David Fitzgerald. This is going to be fun. We're going to talk about mythicism. We're going to have a good time. So you have just attained true gnosis.
You have just attained true gnosis. The demiurge has no power over